Your Voice, Your Vote 2018. This time next week, we will be getting results from the midterm elections and telling you about the winning candidates and issues.
ABC 17's Alyssa Toomey joins us live from the newsroom tonight. Alyssa, a forum on several key ballot issues wrapped up tonight in Columbia.
Ashley and Joey, they discussed all of the statewide ballot issues at this forum, but there were a lot of questions, particularly about the 3 medical marijuana initiatives. Voters that I spoke to said that the forum really helped clear up a lot of things because they had someone who was able to break down all of the ballot initiatives. Now, I want to do that for you in a minute, but first, let me tell you about this guide to the ballot issues that we have created for you as well on our website. You can see every single one of the ballot issues, all of the language, and it breaks down really everything you're going to see on November 6th.
On November 6th, it's your voice, your vote. Turn to ABC 17 News for Mid-Missouri's 2018 election results.
You've trusted us to bring you truth alerts on candidates and the big issues. Now, see where voters stand.
We'll bring you up-to-the-minute results through 4 hours of team coverage on TV and ABC17news.com.
Including in-depth analysis at 7 with the all-new Your Voice, Your Vote 2018 live stream.
It's Your Voice, Your Vote 2018 with ABC 17 News.
Where the news comes first.
Know the issues before you vote with the ABC17news.com election voter guide. Just click on the Your Voice, Your Vote banner for in-depth coverage on ballot issues and candidates.
It's Your Voice, Your Vote 2018
with ABC 17 News.
All right, and another race that we are going to watch tonight is the state auditor race. Now, current auditor Nicole Galloway, a Democrat, is running against Sandra McDowell, a Republican. Now, Galloway was appointed to the position, of course, by Governor Jay Nixon after the death of Tom Schweik. McDowell has worked in the Attorney General's office and the Secretary of State's office. Now, before we get to our reporters, we do have that wall-to-wall coverage like we have been telling you about. We are also going to be talking about some of the state ballot initiatives. That's what you can expect on our live stream here as you are tuning in on ABC17news.com. I'm, of course, joined by political science professor Andrea Benjamin and Commissioner Fred Perry. We are going to be talking about all those issues. We have just a minute here or so before we got to get to our reporters in a moment. But again, the state ballot issues, the medical marijuana, something that a lot of people probably turned out for today, maybe some of your students as well, possibly. And we also have the fuel tax that we're going to be talking about, the minimum wage. I'm curious to see what you guys think is going to happen with that as well. The bingo initiative, not quite as controversial on the ballot. I think that one is probably going to slide by. But the medical marijuana, the one thing that we do know that is incredibly interesting about this is that it is 3 different initiatives on the ballot. So we have the Amendment 2, the Amendment 3, and Proposition C. So those 2 amendments, one thing that I noticed at a League of Women's voter conference that I had gone to where people could kind of ask questions is that not everybody knew how an amendment versus a proposition would make a difference there. So do you want to take a second and just kind of explain really quick what that means in terms of what could happen to our Constitution and state statute?
Well, my limited understanding indicates that with a proposition, the legislature can change it after the voters have decided one thing. The legislature can still go in and make a change. Having a constitutional amendment is a little more difficult to turn over. So that's a big difference, I think.
Right. Yeah. So I think that's absolutely spot on, and I think that sort of, at least to my mind, gave a different set of incentives about how to vote on it. Right, because if you support the proposition, it is very likely that the legislature will overturn it. So it doesn't seem like it's the best bet. So it made it seem like the amendments were a little bit safer if you supported medical marijuana.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And before we get out to our reporters once again with the state auditor's race, I want to go ahead and talk a little bit about that because this is also a really big race. We've seen, Nicole Galloway, one of the only Democrat right now holding a state position in our state, running against Sandra McDowell. But it's also a position that is technically, as a lot of people would say, supposed to be a bipartisan. It's not supposed to be a Republican or Democratic position. Do you think people are going to just check a box, Democratic versus Republican? Do you think people like what they've seen Nicole Galloway do? I'm interested in the turnout here because it could be indicative of, whether people are voting along party lines or more independently, like we've been talking about.
You know, this one I think would be very hard to predict or call because Nicole Galloway has never been elected. She was appointed the treasurer of Boone County when Jan Fugit passed away very early, and then Governor Nixon also appointed her to take Tom Schweik's place when he committed suicide. So really, we don't know how voters of Missouri feel about Nicole Galloway. She's, I think, done a fairly credible job as the auditor. She starts 20 points behind when you think about the fact that Missouri went for Trump by 20 points. So it just depends on how well the rest of the ticket is going to do. It will be tough for her. Sandra McDowell is not a good candidate. She won her primary because there were 5 good candidates in that primary, and a lot of the other candidates in that primary split the vote, and so she won. She was not well funded. She had some background that was not very credible for a state auditor, and so really the Republicans, if they win tonight in that race, it's all about the numbers. It's not about the candidates.
I think so. I mean, I think this is just exactly what we were talking about, right? So if people show up and they haven't done their research and they just use the D or they use the R, then it is, you know, McDowell has an upper hand there, right? But I do think that, you know, if they've done their research, they will know that she's done a good job in the position, even though she wasn't elected.
Right.
So I do think it's really, this is a strange place where, you know, because of all the attention at the top of the ticket, I wonder how much people got into the details to do the research on these lower races lower on the ballot.
Yeah.
Which is kind of sad. I'm sure, I mean, these candidates have been running. I've seen the ads for both of them. They've obviously also invested a lot of money. There's been a lot of time spent, but I'm not sure that everyone was paying as close attention to it. And so in that case, I think party will probably matter a little bit more there.
Yeah.
This was information overload. I think a lot of the down ticket initiatives were just, there was just so much at the top of the ticket that people could not possibly find the time to really thoroughly research the ballot before they went in to vote. I think it's one of the reasons lines were so long today is that people were reading ballot language for the first time. And that's never good. Now, Republicans, when they read ballot language for the first time, they vote no. Okay, depending on how you feel as a Democrat about the marijuana initiatives, you know, you're going to vote with your heart. So, you know, I think that this was I don't think that the down ballot issues will be very representative of the way Missourians really feel when the results come in.
Yeah, and I want to see how they feel really quick about Auditor Galloway, because ABC 17's Sarah Massler-Donar, she is here at the Tiger Hotel in Columbia. Sarah, what is it looking like at Auditor Galloway's event right now? How's the turnout going? It looks pretty busy behind you.
Well, Alyssa, actually, I'm at the Boone County Democrats watch party right now, and Auditor Galloway's party is upstairs. So what's happening right now is everybody is gathering down here in the vault in the Tiger Hotel. All the Boone County Democrats, they're here. So they're going to make their way upstairs as the polls, you know, start reporting and things start getting underway. We're going to see not only the auditor here tonight, but Martha Stevens, Representative Martha Stevens, is running for re-election. Representative Kip Kendrick will be here as well, but he did not have an opponent, so he was running unopposed. Brianna Lennon will be here as well, and she is running for Boone County Clerk against Taylor Burke. So we have all the Boone County Democrats here in the Tiger Hotel. And of course, Galloway is facing a really tough election bid, since, as you heard Fred Perry say, she's never been elected. She's only really been appointed. And it does come down a little bit to Republican versus Democrat, although Galloway has told me that she really sees this as a bipartisan position. She says that she audits everybody, whether they're a Republican or a Democrat, and she says she's trying to fight for all the taxpayers, all Missourians. All Missourians, she said, need to have that money back in their pocket, and they don't need that government waste. A little bit earlier, I was able to talk to a supporter for Auditor Galloway. We talked upstairs at the watch party before things got going. So I wanted to pitch out to that spot now. Let's hear a little bit from one of her supporters.
I am a Missourian, and I believe in Missouri, and I think Missouri needs competent, skilled officials in official capacities. And this is a big one. State auditor. We have a lot of money in our budget that runs through, and if there isn't somebody watchdogging it, a lot of funny business can go on. I support Nicole Galloway because she's competent, she's honest, and she's hardworking, very hardworking.
And that, as you just heard, was one of her supporters here tonight. She's been the auditor now for about 3 years since she was appointed by then Governor Jay Nixon after the auditor at the time, Tom Schweik, took his own life. And she has been working since that time. She's completed many audits, she says, in that from her office. One of the audits, if you are familiar, back in 2017, she audited the University of Missouri system, and she found that there was millions in unpublished bonuses for some higher ups in the system. They were getting luxury cars, things like that. She announced that audit finding on a Monday. Less than a week later, the university system had eliminated that program, and Galloway has told me that's one way she's been able to save Missourians millions of dollars, and she says that's shown her record over the last couple years is that she's been able to save taxpayers more than millions of dollars. I'm going to step off so we can show you a little bit more of the room. You don't want to see my face the whole time here, but this is Boone County Democrats here at our party. We also have in the corner here, we got Lady Liberty, the Statue of Liberty here. She's in costume. She's patriotic today. We're in the vault right here. If you're just tuning in, Auditor Galloway's watch party is upstairs. I'm covering her party. We do have ABC 17's Barry Mangold. He's covering Sandra McDowell just outside Springfield. So we do have equal coverage of it. You'll probably see him at some point during this live stream talking about Sandra McDowell and her side of this race right now. But yeah, Auditor Galloway, she's been doing this job for a couple of years now. I will be, of course, live at 9 and 10. As the polls start closing, we start getting results. You'll want to stay with us here to find out how this auditor's race will go for the Democrats or for the Republicans. Reporting live here in the Tiger Hotel, Sarah Massler-Donar, ABC 17 News.
All right, thank you so much, Sarah. And as she mentioned, we do have ABC 17's Barry Mangold covering the Republican nominee for state auditor, Sandra McDowell. He is in Ozark right now. It's a private party in the city of Ozark. Barry, what have you got for us? And kind of walk us through a little bit how this went with learning where her party was and then not being able to know exactly what the location is.
Well, Alyssa, it's definitely been, learning about this watch party has been interesting. I just now know for a fact that there is a private watch party happening here nearby in the city of Ozark, but I will be reaching out to her campaign to try to get a comment from her no matter what the results are. But this is the McDowell's first time running for an elected office, and it's a big one. If, as you guys have mentioned, if McDowell were to knock off Galloway, that would eliminate the last Democrat in a statewide seat in the executive branch of the state government. So this is a crucial race for state Democrats, and the funding for the campaigns has reflected that. In mid-October, Galloway had over $1 million on hand to spend on the campaign, where McDowell had less than $30,000. Huge difference in funding, but no one is counting McDowell out of this race just yet. As you guys have already talked about, if enough people show up for Hawley and just vote Republican down the ticket, it could be a surprising day for McDowell and Galloway. And last week, we got the chance to sit down with McDowell to talk about her background and her platform. And she is an Oklahoma native and spent 8 years in the Air Force, 6 in active duty, 2 in the reserves. And afterwards, she went to law school and moved to Missouri with her husband. And after her legal experience includes starting a private firm with her husband called McDowell and McDowell, and as well as time spent working in the Attorney General's office as well as the Secretary of State's office. And if she wins, she says she plans on auditing the auditor's office as one of her first things she will do. And the purpose behind that is to make sure that there's, she says, is to make sure there's no unnecessary spending and to reorganize the leadership. She says, as it stands now, the auditor's office has too many positions at the top and not enough people at the bottom. She says she wants to reorganize that and add more auditors. And so overall, the platform she has been running has 5 main points. I just listed off a few of them, but if you'd like to see her explain each of those points, you can see a full interview that we did with her last week on our website at abc17news.com, or for a shortcut, you can go to my Twitter account. You can follow me at BarryABC17. I just tweeted the link to that. You can see her explain all of her main platform points and what she plans on doing in her first year in office if she pulls off the upset. But as I mentioned, I have been in contact with her campaign manager and plan on getting a comment from her no matter what result we see later on tonight, and we will report back once we have more. Reporting live here in Ozark, Barry Mangold, ABC 17 News.
ABC 17 News brought you fast and accurate November election results.
Let's get right to the early results in the U.S. Senate race.
I am ready to go to Washington and fight for you.
Claire McCaskill accepted defeat with both reflection and a call to action.
Team coverage with updates on the big issues, online and on TV.
All evening, this has been very, very close.
When it's a big story, we're all over it. ABC 17 News, where the news comes first.